What's up out there, my people? It's your man, Cam. Majority of the people that actually know me as Jason. But I want to jump on here. I hadn't recorded anything too recent, but I just had to come on here because this crazy guy in the White House, man, I swear his reasoning or his logical thinking is just not there. If you understand what I'm saying, and if not, what I am saying is that, for example, this guy in which no one wants their neighborhood or their town or their city or their state to go up in chaos and have, people looting all the stores and firebombing people's cars and blocking the street. Nobody wants that. And when I say nobody, I mean the citizens. We don't want that. But my thing about it is that this so-called president is the reason for all of this happening. He talks so negatively, and not just him, but his entire, the people that surrounds him speak about Joe Biden so badly, in which I didn't follow Joe Biden closely or anything like that, so I can't speak positively or negatively about him for the most part. But I can say is that we didn't see all of this protesting and stuff like that going on when Joe Biden was president. And so he's releasing, or he has sent for the Marines and the California National Guard to go to California or LA or whatever part of California and try to bring some type of order to that city or that state. But once again, he is the cause of all of this chaos. And so when I say he doesn't think logically, I say that because everything that he goes and corrects are issues and problems that he caused. If you see what I'm saying, he creates a problem, he goes and tries to fix his own problem, and if he is successful at somewhat fixing the problem that he created, then he goes and boasts and brags about how he fixed the situation. But if it wasn't for his stupidity and his ignorance and his stubbornness, a lot of these problems would and can be avoided. But like I said, he created this issue, and the reason, and so that's why the people in California are protesting, is because of an issue that he created, which is this idea that he has that all Hispanics are here illegally and that they need to go back to where they're from voluntarily and or be forced to go back to their native country. But then, once again, like I said, he's stupid. He's ignorant. He doesn't listen. So just the other night or last night, he made a statement or a comment about how the farmers in California are now being affected because a lot of their workers that they had picking their fruits or harvesting the fruits or whatever have you are here illegally. And now they're being picked up on the farms that they're working on and being sent back to whatever country they may be from, or wherever Trump is actually sending these people, I'm not sure. But then he makes a comment about, well, we need to fix this because the farmers are now suffering And these people that have been working on these farmers' farms have been working there for years on end, and that these are actually good people. And so they, meaning he, needs to figure out a way to stop these people from being deported. And when I tell you that he's stupid, ignorant, and stubborn, it's because people brought that to his attention before he even started this mess in this. You get what I'm saying? Before he even started deporting these people, they said, hey, you're going to be deporting people, and it's going to affect the farmers. It's going to affect a lot more than just the farmers. It's going to affect these people that are building homes and all this other stuff. All that's going to be affected because the majority of those positions and jobs are held by the Hispanic community. And so now he says that needs to be corrected. You idiot. If you only would have listened in the beginning, you wouldn't have to go back and correct something that you foolishly messed up. If you see what I'm saying. So that's why I say this so-called president is one of the most stupidest people or foolish people that I have ever witnessed, especially being in a position of power that he is in. And then not only that, the other thing or the other problem that gets my goat with him is that he's now calling upon the military to go into California in order to bring order to Los Angeles or wherever they are in California. But this is the same guy. And he was saying how police shouldn't be hurt, that we can't allow the police to be hurt, and we can't allow citizens to be hurt, and all this other nonsense. And it's not nonsense because we don't want anyone to get hurt, but it's nonsense coming from him because he is the same person that caused that uprising at the White House in which 5 police officers, the same police officers in a sense that he is now trying to protect in California, 5 DC police officers were killed in that insurrection that he allowed to happen, and that he refused to come on television and tell these people to back down and not to do it. And he had so many negative things to say about the thoughts of allowing the military to actually come into the White House at that time in order to stop this uprising or this insurrection that these idiots did. But yet now he wants to allow the military to go into California in order to stop these people. You see what I'm saying? He's a double standard. And if it's not something that plays into his corner and what he wants to happen, then it's wrong. But he went in pardon just about any and everyone that had a part in this insurrection, but now he wants to pretend as if he is on the side of police officers. And like I said, man, if anybody, especially the military and the police department, continue to follow this fool, then that goes to show you how ignorant our help, because they're supposed to be the help of the community. That goes to show you how ignorant they are as well, and that they need to be looked at and possibly removed out of the positions that they're in, because they are in a position of somewhat having power over the regular citizen. If you see what I'm saying, they have the right to pull you over, lock you up, shoot and kill you, and whatever else they deem necessary in whatever situation that they may be in. And I'm not saying that for all police officers, but I'm just saying in general, if anyone believes in what this so-called president of the United States is doing and the things that he says, then they need to be looked at closely. And if they're in a position of power, they need to be removed out of those positions just as well as he needs to be removed out of the White House. And personally, I do not believe that he is going to be president of this country the entire 4 years that he was actually voted to be president of this country for. I don't think that he's going to do it. He is doing way too much, and he's breaking law after law in the process to be allowed to finish the 4 years that he was voted in the office to have. I don't see him finishing the 4 years. And then not only that, he's supposed to be this peacemaker in which we haven't seen the war between Ukraine and Russia end. Actually, the fighting has gotten worse because of him coming in and saying what he wants to say and thinking that he has power and authority over everyone else. And he's made that situation worse. The war between the Palestinians or Hamas or whatever that is in Egypt has not ended. It has gotten worse. And now we see that Israel has bombed Iran. Meaning that we could start seeing nuclear bombs and nuclear weapons being used soon. And personally, I believe that that is going to happen. Because in the beginning with the fighting between Israel and Hamas, Iran at one point in time or whatever have you was actually on the side of Hamas, and they were also shooting missiles and whatever else over into Israel, in which the United States at that time stepped in and helped to shoot down majority of those missiles that were fired from Iran towards Israel. But now you hear the idiots that are around this so-called president saying that they don't have anything to do with what Israel did as far as shooting these missiles and blowing up and killing some big names over in Iran just the other night. And so I'm saying that mouthful because if they feel as if the United States have nothing to do with that, then that means that the United States isn't going to step in and help Israel this time. And so now Israel is going to be in a full-fledged war on more than one side of their country. And Iran actually has access to nuclear weapons, meaning that at any given time, those nuclear weapons can be used, and I believe that they will be used if they are unable to come up with some type of peace agreement. And at this point in time, a peace agreement and any type of talks right now are off the table. It's not going to be any talking at least for, I would say, a month. After Iran starts to see more of their people dying and their country start to, go into chaos, then maybe they'll say, all right, well, we need to stop this and let's go talk to the leader of Israel and see if we can come up with a peace treaty. But in the near future, that's not going to happen just because of what Israel did yesterday and the people that were actually killed yesterday. And so Iran is most definitely going to retaliate. Whether or not they're going to use nuclear weapons this early on, I don't think that they will. But if this war starts to drag on as just like, let's say, the war between Ukraine and Russia, then most definitely nuclear weapons are going to be used. Whether or not the United States decides to take part in this, I can't say, I feel that the United States is actually going to be forced into this conflict right now. They're going to be forced into this conflict, especially if it turns into a full-fledged war. They're going to have to step in as far as the United States, because like I said, once the nuclear weapons start to be fired off, then the United States is going to feel like our safety is in jeopardy or whatever have you. And so they're going to have to step in which God knows where this is going to lead. I've said it, and I said it in years past, that whether it's because of Trump's mouth or whatever it may be, while he is in office, we are going to end up in World War III with Donald J. Trump in office. Like I said, the guy only cares about himself, y'all. He doesn't care anything about the people of this country. He doesn't care about the military. He's pretending to care about the military because he's got his little parade that's about to happen here pretty soon and all this other stuff, in which this is going to be a sign of how things are in places like North Korea, in Russia. When you see tanks and helicopters going down city streets, and it's all because of this king mentality, this dictator mentality that the so-called president of this country has. But like I said, man, if people aren't starting to wake up more and more, I just don't know what the problem is if they aren't, man. And people continue to defend this guy's stupidity and ignorance, and I just don't understand why. I don't know if it's just because the people of the world in general have become so shallow-minded and so feeble that they're just looking for somebody to hold on to that's going to fill their heads up with lies and not tell any truths, or basically tell them what they want to hear, but not actually put anything into existence. You see what I'm saying? He talks the talk, but the walk is not being walked with this guy. I mean, I was listening to him, and he was going to a Broadway show or some type of show at one of these big fancy places. And what's trippy is that if he felt like it was a national emergency in California, why on earth would he be going on a date night with his wife if it's a national emergency in the United States? That goes to show you that it really, truly isn't that big of a deal and that big of a problem if he's still going out and enjoying himself. But not only that, before he went into that play or that show that he had gone to, he was talking about what was going on in California, and he said something that I'm like, people really believe and listen to this guy when he talks? Because then he was saying so this is what he was saying, I'm paraphrasing, that the people were breaking up the sidewalks and they were using the cement or whatever have you as weapons. And I'm not saying that's not happening, but then he goes on to say, and as well, they were breaking up the curb. And they're breaking up the curb. It's such a beautiful curb. And that's what got me, y'all, when he said it's such a beautiful curb. I mean, what? But that's the way that this guy speaks, and people look at it as if he's charismatic and smooth in the way that he talks. A beautiful curb? Who gives a darn about a curb right now when the economy is crashing still? The price of things are continually going up. The only thing that has gone down with him being in office is the price of fuel. And that's only going down because I feel personally that the world powers, they're all leading up to something. And we are headed into some chaotic times. I mean, we have wars in all of these different countries, y'all. And the United States, and it's pretty much one of the only countries that is trying to distance itself from any type of war, any type of conflict. And we're going to end up right in the middle of all of this foolishness. And it's going to happen, and it's going to happen soon. So I'm just saying all this, that we need to be prepared. But that's the only reason why gas prices are going down, because they're preparing for the war. I'm telling you. But other than gas, everything else has gone up. And people will sit back and, oh man, the gas prices, but everything else around you costs you more. And so has he really done anything? No, he hasn't. The economy has not gotten better. People's lives have actually gotten harder with him being in office. But I could go on and on, y'all. I'm not going to say much more. But this guy really just pisses me off. You know, I don't even like to even look at him. Just the thought of this guy makes me want to just spit on the ground. That's just how lowly I think of this so-called president. And then speaking of spit, the idiot said, well, if they spit, we hit. And since when have we ever heard a president speak the way that he does? He calls other the governors of different countries that don't want to bow down to him and fall in line. He calls them idiots. He calls them all kinds of names. You see what I'm saying? Like, this guy is far from being a president. But because this guy is such an entertainment factor, that the people of this country likes him because he's entertaining. But entertainment isn't going to continue to feed your family. Entertainment is not going to keep you safe when missiles and bombs are being shot and dropped on the United States. But yet, that's why people like him so much, because they feel like he's entertaining. I don't fall for the foolishness, y'all. Entertainment, to me, I could do without it. You get what I'm saying? Especially when it's coming from a person that is supposed to be serious about things. I can't stand a person that jokes and giggles and is playful all the time. I can't be around somebody like that. Especially when that person is supposed to be a leader. A leader isn't supposed to sit there and joke and laugh and call people names 24/7. He's supposed to be handling business. And that's what this president is not doing. He is not handling business. But for the ones that continue to follow him, y'all are ignorant. And I hate to call people names, but y'all are. And when y'all lives continually get harder and harder as the days and the weeks go by with him being in office, I truly believe that a lot of y'all will change y'all minds. And once again, I apologize for calling anybody out of their names, but I say that because y'all have literally put millions of people's lives and livelihoods in jeopardy because y'all decided to vote this guy into office. But hey, man, it's just your man Cam. I love y'all. I love the ones that don't love me. I still love you. And y'all take it easy out there, man. And I hope things get better for all of us.